All right, guys, you asked and ClarksvilleNow.com answered and gave us what we wanted to know. What happened in Montgomery County, Tennessee with Deputy Baker? Just an hour ago, they released a story update as to the details of the traffic stop. Now, at first, they're saying it was a routine traffic stop. On the night of September 5th, 2021, Williams, who is mixed race, was traveling back to Clarksville from Tampa, Florida, he told Clarksville Now. He's probably going to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, because it shows him in his BDUs. He had two friends who are white pick him up at the airport, and he was supposed to pick up his daughter from her mother's house later that evening. The three men were traveling on 101st Airborne Division Parkway near Whitfield Road when Baker indicated a traffic stop. Exactly, they're probably going back to the Army post. At first, everything seemed routine, but Williams said everything was cool. Deputy Baker was talking to the driver. He asked him if he knew how fast he was going and if there was a reason why he was going so fast. And my friend was like, no, there's no reason. I was driving fast. I don't have an excuse. Well, he's in the Army. I mean, we used to drive fast. It's just, I don't know. Soldiers are soldiers. Williams said Baker then shined a flashlight on him and his other friend in the back seat and asked for their IDs. Williams said that he advised, I'm in the passenger seat, and I look at the police officer and asked him, I said, why do I have to give you my ID? Well, he starts saying stuff like it's the law, and he starts naming off fake laws. Well, they always do that. Williams said he declined to give the officer his ID because he was not the one driving, which is correct. Baker ordered Williams to get out of the car. Williams said his ID was stored in his backpack after traveling. I step out of the car and I have my backpack with me, which my ID is in, so I step out of the car. And my friend starts recording at that moment. As he got his ID out of the bag, Williams said he pressed for more information about Deputy Baker, about what led him to ask for ID. No Tennessee statute exists that compels a person to provide ID to a law enforcement officer unless the officer has reasonable suspicion that the person is engaged in criminal wrongdoing. Riding in the back seat of a car that's going fast, that's not criminal wrongdoing on you. It's on the driver. So I'm asking at the same time, what laws am I breaking? Why do I have to get out of the vehicle? What crime do you suspect me of committing? And he starts naming off more stuff like failure to exhibit and started threatening to take me to jail if I didn't give my ID. Williams said that he handed Baker his ID and Baker returned to his patrol vehicle. Baker said he and his friend sat in the car for 40 minutes and then an officer with the Clarksville Police Department arrived. They flagged the officer down to come talk to him. He asked the proceedings during a traffic stop. I'm like, hey, what do y'all usually do when you pull people over and there's passengers in the car? Do y'all ask for their IDs? At this point, Williams said Baker returned to the car and asked Williams to step out of the vehicle again. He gives the driver the ticket. He makes me get out of the vehicle again, says Williams, and walk over to his car. He gave me a ticket for failure to exhibit when clearly I have video of me giving him my ID. Now, Williams said when he was sitting in Baker's patrol vehicle, he asked more questions. He asked for Baker's badge number and name, which Baker refused to give. Williams said, we're sitting there and I'm literally talking to him and I start recording him at this point. We're talking. He literally stops what he's doing. He turns around, puts me in handcuffs, and takes me to jail. Williams was placed under arrest and charged with disorderly conduct because he was recording, I guess. When we got to jail, Deputy Baker made a false statement to the clerk or whoever was in there that took the statement under oath, which I guess is where all of this is coming from, Williams said. According to information from the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, the traffic stop was initiated at 8:40 p.m. Williams did not get out of jail until around 12:30 a.m. That sounds about right. Days later, Williams gets a call from the district attorney's office notifying him the charges will be dismissed. Of course, they're false charges. He added that he had to pay money out of pocket he didn't have to make bail that night, and he had to find a babysitter for his daughter because the mother had to be at work. He said he's looking for a lawyer. Well, they're filing a lawsuit, right? I can honestly say I feel it was because I was the black kid in the car. Both of my friends that were with me were white. He didn't give either one of them a hard time. He only gave me a hard time. Notice that. 2 passengers in the car. Williams finally gives his ID, but he's the only one arrested. The other passenger wasn't arrested, and neither was the driver. Clarksville reached out to Chase Smith, Deputy Baker's attorney, for comment, but they've got no response. So you all wondered what's going on. I'll put the original editorial in the description box below that talks about the deputy's arrest and his indictment by the grand jury. That's all in the description box below. So now you know what's going on here. And if you want to watch that other editorial again and see about the grand jury indictment, or if you haven't seen it, it's in the description box below in that link. You will find not only the link to this story, but a link to my video where I did the editorial on the grand jury indictment. That's in the description box below as well. So you asked, Clarksville now responded, and I'm giving it to you. And believe it or not, I found this. I was scrolling and looking. I said, there's got to be something about what this guy did on the traffic stop. And they release it today to clarksvillenow.com. Why didn't they release all this when, this is September 5th. Now here in October, they're finally saying, all right, fine, well, or maybe they were able to interview. It sounds like they were able to interview this young man, Williams, and that's how we find out, through the victim, not through the police department or the sheriff's department. Very interesting, Mr. Bond.